Hey Kodiak, Alex here from the office. I am going to show you guys how to make a fire in your backyard today.
Here we go! Kodiak on the water, Kodiak on the land. Feel it getting stronger every year.
Hey Kodiakers, before we get started on trying to build a fire, there's a few things we definitely need to go over first for safety purposes. The big thing being that you want to make sure you have an adult with you who can observe everything during this entire time. So maybe that's going to be a mom, dad, or maybe an aunt or an uncle that's come over for the weekend, who knows. But just somebody who is able to help you out through this whole process and maybe even do a couple of the parts for you, like lighting the actual fire, depending on obviously what you're comfortable with doing yourself and what with your parents are comfortable with you doing. The other big piece you want to think about is make sure that you are allowed to have a fire in your area. Not everywhere allows you to have a fire, so you have to have a fire permit in a lot of places. Maybe talk to your parents about that. They'll know about whether or not you can have one in your backyard, or if you need to look into something else if you're going to try this. We're going to open up with our way to put the fire out first. So I'm going to use a hose because mine's just in my backyard, and that makes life easy for me. If you don't have access to a hose nearby your pit, what you can do is just fill up a couple of pots and pans with water, or a big bucket with water. Make sure you're able to pick it up. The next thing you're going to need is a lighter in order to start your fire. And in order to start your fire, you're going to need some fuel or wood. So in my case, I have a bunch of newspaper to help start the fire. I have some kindling here that we're going to use to help start the fire. And then I have a couple of bigger pieces of wood that I'm going to use as my fuel. So one of the next pieces that we need to know about is how to build a fire. There's two common ways that people usually do it, and one of them is using a log cabin, just like I've started to set up here, and I'll show you in a moment how to finish it off. It just is a big square that you're laying out with your wood. So I've started here with my kindling, so my smaller pieces of wood, and I'm going to just keep adding until it builds up tall enough that I feel confident that I can put on a larger piece of wood here. All right, and that's what I would put inside my fire pit. So you'll need to have a place that you can put your fire pit if you're just building one in your backyard. I've got a little patio stone here, and I'm going to start to build my box here. So as I lay it out, you'll notice I'm doing it a little bit different than what I showed you on the grass here. It's going to have more than one stick to go across, and that's just to make my life a little easier based on having some leftover wood inside my fireplace here. So once I have that set up, then I'm going to lay some wood across the top, and then I will light with my lighter. This may be one of the pieces where you want your parents or guardian to help you out. So when you're putting out your fire, one of the things you want to make sure if you're going to use a hose is that it's not on a strong setting that's just going to blast the coals everywhere. Make sure it's nice and light so it can put the fire out. Okay, whenever you're ready. Yeah, good job. Guys feel like you have any questions about this process, feel free to put them in the comments, and hopefully you get a chance to try this out with some family and friends in the near future. See you next time.
What's that? For a home away from home at Kodiak.